No one knew what had happened. 1 second, Earth's sky was clear. The next, giant ships covered the clouds like shadows from another world. Within minutes, hundreds of people vanished. Captured, taken, no warning, no escape. The Zarnak Empire had come. They called themselves rulers of the galaxy. Their goal was simple: capture Earth's strongest and lock them inside Blackvault, the most dangerous prison in the universe. A prison near a black hole. No one had ever escaped. Not once. Zara opened her eyes in a cold, silent cell. The walls glowed faint blue. No doors, no windows, just silence. She wasn't scared. She smiled. Across the prison, other humans were waking up. A soldier, a scientist, a thief, a gamer. None of them panicked. Instead, they looked around calm, curious. Like players inside a game. The alien guards watched through cameras and whispered, "Why aren't they afraid?" Inside the main control room, one screen flickered. The prison system's built to be perfect, just glitched for the first time in 100 years, and it all started because a human whispered. The alien guards stared at the screen. A red warning blinked. System error, Block C. That had never happened before. Warden Threx, a six-eyed Zarnak commander, hissed in confusion. Impossible. This prison runs on flawless logic. Nothing breaks. But inside Block C, something had changed. Human prisoners were no longer pacing their cells or screaming like other species did. Instead, they were calm, focused, watching the lights, the patterns, the guards' routines. Moloch, a former Earth soldier, tapped his metal food tray softly. Tap, tap, tap. Pause. Tap. Zara heard the signal from 3 cells away and smiled. They were mapping the prison. Using sound, light, and memory. Ren, a quiet engineer, spilled water near his door. It flowed unevenly, revealing a slight tilt in the floor. A clue Zarnak guards didn't notice. They never had to. Until now. Then it happened again. Camera 7 blinked off, then on, then off again. The alien technicians panicked. "We're losing visuals," Warden Threx growled. "Reset everything, now." But it was too late. From inside her cell, Zara leaned back and whispered. Zara knew time was short. Blackvault wasn't just any prison, it was alive. Every move, every sound was recorded by thousands of sensors. But humans didn't act like prisoners, they acted like players. By the 3rd day, Zara had identified the smartest inmates. First was Moloch, ex-military, strong, sharp, always watching. Second was Ren, silent, clever, and already taking apart his bed to study the screws. Third was Lena, a girl no one noticed until she used a spoon to block a motion sensor for exactly 4.3 seconds. Zara smuggled a message using her food tray. "Meet at meal 12. Plan begins." At the cafeteria, under the dull blue lights, the 4 sat at different tables, but communicated with signs, eye blinks, tray patterns. No guards noticed. Malik spoke first, low and careful. "We're not escaping with force." "That's suicide," Zara nodded. "We do it our way, step by step." "Like an escape room," Ren smiled faintly. "They'd built this place with logic, but logic can be fooled." Lena dropped her spoon. A guard glanced over. Too late. The team had already swapped their trays-coated maps hidden inside. The game had truly begun. Zara stared at the walls of her cell. To most, they looked smooth and plain. But she saw something else: tiny blinking lights. Too slow to be random. Too perfect to be decoration. She counted them for hours. The pattern repeated. 3 short blinks. Too long. Then silence. Again. It wasn't just lights. It was a code. Alien Morse. She tapped the pattern into her tray and passed it to Ren during the next meal. By nightfall, Ren confirmed it. The prison's AI used logic-based signal language to control doors, cameras, even gravity levels. The Zarnaks had built a prison smart enough to manage itself. But now humans were listening in. Lena found scratches behind her wall panel, not from humans, but from previous prisoners. Someone tried this before and failed. Zara whispered, "We won't." Together, they crafted their own silent code. With scraps from beds, spoons, and wires from Ren's broken monitor, they built a device, a signal disruptor, the size of a coin. They tested it during lights out. One hallway camera blinked off for exactly 6 seconds. That's all they needed. Zara looked at the others and grinned. Warden Threx paced inside the control room. "Why are the humans calm?" he growled. Other species screamed, cried, but humans? They whispered, smiled, even laughed. Something was wrong. Inside the cell blocks, the team worked fast. Malik started a loud fake fight with another prisoner just as Ren rerouted power behind a wall panel. The guards rushed in, distracted. In that moment, Lena slipped past the security beam and planted a small mirror to blind a hallway sensor. It was all a game of timing. Zara used meal deliveries to measure door response speeds. If she could figure out the rhythm, she could find the weak link. Meanwhile, Ren dismantled the base of his bunk bed and turned it into a mini antenna, one that could loop the live camera feed for 20 seconds. 20 seconds of invisibility. Each move was careful, clean, quiet. Warden Threx demanded answers. What are they planning? No one knew, but back in the cell, Zara scribbled invisible symbols, using steam from her breath on the glass. Each symbol represented a system. Midnight. The lights in Block C dimmed for exactly 6 minutes, just like they did every third cycle. But this time, something was different. Zara gave a quick nod. Malik cracked his knuckles. Ren activated the loop. They vanished from every camera in their section. In total silence, they slipped into the maintenance shaft Lena had uncovered, hidden behind a loose wall panel, only 38 centimeters wide. The Zarnex built it for drones, not people. They crawled for 12 minutes. Every corner brought a new risk: laser sensors, motion pads, silent alarms. But they'd mapped it all. At the shaft's end, a small door waited. Ren hacked the panel with a sharp metal rod and a piece of his own shoe. Click! It opened. But just as they stepped through, a blinding red light flooded the corridor. Sirens, heavy boots, Zarnek guards. Zara dove back into the shaft and sealed the panel from inside. Malik and Ren were caught. As guards dragged them away, Ren shouted, "We were seconds away." Zara sat in her cell, breathing hard, heart pounding but not broken. She picked up her food tray and scratched one message into the bottom. Malik and Ren were locked in isolation, cold walls, no sound. Artificial gravity turned to maximum. The artificial gravity turned to artificial gravity turned to maxima. Zarnex wanted to crush their hope literally. Warden Threx watched through the glass. Humans will break, just like the others. But days passed. Neither of them spoke a word. Not out of fear but control, Ren used the time to mentally rework the escape plan, calculating angles and timings in his head like equations. Malik did push-ups, hundreds, thousands, each one a silent answer to the warden's cruelty. Meanwhile, back in the main block, Zara refused to give up. She began sending tiny signals through the prison's light system, using the same blinking code the eye used: 1 blink, 2 blinks, long pause. It was a message: we're not done. Other prisoners noticed. Not just humans, aliens from other species. Broken, hopeless creatures who now watched the humans with new eyes. They started mimicking the codes, whispering phrases like, "Level 3. Coming soon." The spirit was spreading. Not through violence, through hope. Warden Threx slammed his fist against the control board. They're not escaping. They're infecting the whole prison. Zara smiled through the glass and mouthed 3 simple words. Blackvault trembled, not from war, but from something far more dangerous: organized chaos. Zara's blinking light messages had reached every block. Dozens of prisoners, human and alien, now moved with purpose. Every fight was staged. Every screen was a signal. Every accident a step in the plan. Ren, finally released from isolation, was limping but smiling. Malik's eyes burned with focus. They rejoined Zara and Lena at the meal block. Ren placed a cracked power chip on the table. I stole this from the isolation cell. It's unstable. Zara nodded. Perfect. Let's black out the eastern wing. They did. At exactly 3:17 prison time. The lights cut off in 3 sectors. Doors glitched. Alarms screamed. The guards panicked, splitting into random teams, chasing shadows. In the chaos, Zara led the core team down the emergency maintenance tunnel. Malik carried the signal disruptor. Lena guided with a stolen map. Other prisoners followed, not blindly, but in formation. Like a game they'd trained for, they reached the guard station. Ren hacked into the system and triggered Prison Protocol 77, meant only for black hole emergencies. The prison began unlocking itself. Warden Threx roared. They're not escaping. They're controlling us. And far ahead in the dark, Zara whispered. They stood before it, Gate 0, the final exit between Blackvault and the cold stars beyond. A 3-meter-thick door built from neutronium alloy. Unbreakable, unhackable, controlled only by the prison's AI and protected by a deadly failsafe. Open. It too early, and it ejects everything into the black hole. Ren examined the control panel. We have one chance. If I mess up, we all disappear. Zara stared at the terminal. Alien symbols blinked fast, complex, shifting like a puzzle with a mind of its own. I'll solve the logic code, she said. You stabilize the gravity core. Lena handed over the stolen stabilizer crystal. Malik stood guard with a pipe made from drone remains. As Ren climbed into the access hatch, Zara sat down and faced the terminal. She had 60 seconds to solve 5 alien riddles. Each wrong answer reset the system. On the 3rd reset, Blackvault would enter self-destruct mode. Click. First riddle solved. Click. Second. Click. Click. Final one. The terminal turned green, but the gate didn't open. Voice spoke from the AI. Final switch must be pulled from inside the core chamber. Someone had to stay behind. Malik stepped forward, silent. Zara looked at him. No, there has to be another way, he smiled. There is. Let me be it. And walked into the core. Malik entered the glowing core chamber. Heat rising around him, alarms still echoing in the distance. Manual override engaged, said the AI. Final. Switch in 30 seconds. He placed his hand on the control lever. One pull, and the gate would open. But he'd be trapped. Forever. Outside, Zara's voice came through the intercom. Malik, wait. You don't have to. But he only smiled. You said it yourself. It's just a game, right? And he pulled the lever. The entire prison shook. Gate 0 opened. A blast of cold stars flooded the corridor as the prisoners, human and alien, rushed through to the emergency dock. Ships, once guarded by Zarnex, now floated freely under chaos. Zara stood frozen, staring at the chamber door sealed tight. But then, a pod launched from the side of the prison. Ren had built it. A single-person escape pod hidden in the old gravity core. He'd wired it days ago, just in case. Malik appeared on the tiny screen, coughing but grinning. You really thought I'd miss the ending? The humans were free. Blackvault drifted silently behind them, lights dying out one by one. Across the galaxy, the Zarnak Council watched the footage in silence. How did they do it? One asked. Zara's voice played from the final log. You built a prison to break us. We turned it into a puzzle to beat you.